All right. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us today on January 20, 2026 for this Board of Ed meeting. Time now is 7:31. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Muscarella for superintendent's comments.
Thank you. Yeah. Welcome back to 2026. Hope everybody had a good holiday. As we begin the new year, January offers us an opportunity to reflect on the progress we've made while also committing ourselves or recommitting ourselves to the work ahead. A new year is not just a turning of the calendar, but a renewed promise to continue striving for excellence, to support every student, and to work collaboratively as a school community in service of growth, opportunity, and success for all. With that said, I'm pleased to share the following updates and highlights for the Board of Education. I'll start with capital improvement projects. It wasn't so long ago that we met in December, so not a lot has happened. However, in our 3 elementary buildings, the libraries are just about ready for occupancy. I was over at Schwarting today, and they're continuing the lighting there. They're very fancy lighting, so it takes a little longer to install, but when it's done, it will look beautiful. As the electrician told me, the sun was up, but Saturn was a little more complicated, so he was going to take a little longer with the Saturn lights because they have to cross each other or something like that. Anyway, so Schwarting is first. He's going to finish one building at a time. We should be finished with all of them, hopefully by February, which is just around the corner. It says January 20th already. And the middle school is set to be finished by March. Speaking of the middle school, the turf field, of course, is on hold due to the weather because the glue for the turf is very sensitive to temperature. So they can't, complete the installation of that. But they're pretty confident that by the beginning of March, that will be finished, and the scoreboard will be installed at the middle school in the middle of March. Bathrooms at Schwarting have been finished, both the adult ones as well as any student ones that they were looking at. With that, kindergarten registration, speaking of the schools, kindergarten registration is open online officially now, and children must be 5 years old before December 1st. We look forward to welcoming all of our newest kindergartners and supporting their families through the registration process. And on to the athletic signing day is going to be tomorrow, the 21st. Plainridge High School will host an athletic signing day in the dance studio. This event recognizes student athletes, as you probably know, who have committed to continuing their academic and athletic careers beyond high school, and we'll talk about where they're committed to. We're extremely proud of their dedication, their perseverance, and their accomplishments, and we look forward to celebrating this important milestone with them. Very exciting also, our best buddies that I mentioned last month as well, they will be hosting their fashion show. So save the date, February 12th at 6 p.m. at Plainedge High School Auditorium. The special event will highlight the impactful work of our high school Best Buddies program and celebrates the students who promote friendship, inclusion, and belonging throughout our school community. So I'm very excited about that. They'll be doing the Best Buddies. Will be going around to the elementary buildings and the middle school as well to inspire them to buy tickets, let's just say. And so they'll be doing like a quasi fashion show for them. And that's, they're very excited about doing that. Adult education is going to be offered again this spring, responding to ongoing community interest in lifelong learning, enrichment, and skill development. So keep an eye open for the brochure, both in the mail and email. And student achievements. I'd like to recognize the following outstanding student accomplishments. Senior Captain Samantha Borgia, a West student, has been named one of Newsday's top 50 cheerleaders for the 25-26 school year. I think that's incredible. Sam was also on the court, I believe. She was one of the people that was up for Homecoming Queen. And then also I'd like to recognize Plainedge wrestler Devin Downs. He earned the title of Eastern State Classic Champion, a tremendous achievement. And if you know wrestling, I guess that, this, everybody's shaking his head, you know wrestling? There you go.
A little bit.
A little bit, especially with 6 children. Eh? As we move forward into the new year, I'm confident that the collective dedication of our students, our staff, our families, and our Board of Education will continue to strengthen our district and open doors of opportunity for every learner. Thank you.
I'm going to turn it over to our student representative for her comments, Ms. Muldoon.
All right, so all the student councils are excited to start planning their spirit ideas and decorations for the Battle of Classes, which will be in March. The juniors and seniors have also started prom planning by designing their prom invites. Info is going to begin being mailed out during winter break before that, so keep an eye out for that. The junior prom will be on May 1st at Mansion at Tanager Point, Great River, and senior prom is on June 24th at the Piermont. With that, the seniors decorated the school bulletin board for the halfway to graduation mark. A lot of informational assemblies have also taken place. The second safe decisions presentation for the senior parking lot took place last week, I believe. Students wanting to park in the senior parking lot had to attend that one or one earlier in the year. And it just goes over drunk driving, being safe and aware, and making good decisions. They had to go with a parent or guardian, and it's incredibly informative and goes over the consequences. A similar presentation will be given to the juniors before their prom and again to the seniors before theirs. Ninth grade had a vaping presentation about some misconceptions, long-term and short-term effects that were not really well known. Many didn't realize that the vapes could actually blow up, which shows the importance of these presentations. And the Q&A format helped keep students engaged. Also, it helps students learn about breast cancer, how to prevent it, and how to perform an exam. So a lot of great presentations are taking place. Again, the 5th annual Best Buddies fashion show is coming up. It really is a great event, so I would definitely save the date. A lot of work goes into it. Plainedge English Honor Society is in the middle of a collaboration with Finney's Army. All English Honor Societies had to bring in age-appropriate items like coloring books, colored pencils, things like that, to help create soldier sacks, which are drawstring backpacks filled with items to keep kids busy and entertained while they're at the hospital for emergency visits, doctor's appointments, or during long inpatient stays. Mr. Buckley wants to thank all the EHS members for their generous donations. And then the guidance department has also been very busy with scheduling. Each student is meeting with their guidance counselors to discuss course selection, ensuring the student's schedule is appropriate. New classes are being promoted to make sure every student gets a class that they need or just a class that they enjoy. Guidance is also helping out the seniors as college decisions come in, so they'll be walking them through the deferral process, submitting mid-year grades, letters of continued interest, and anything else that will help the students be in the best spot possible. And lastly, they have started the college planning process with the juniors. So on February 4th, a college night panel will take place. Representatives from Alabama, Farmingdale, and Delaware will be answering any questions and doing some nice informational presentations.
Great, thank you. Appreciate it. Moving on to section 4, routine approvals. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the December 16, 2026 Board of Ed meeting? Mr. Versace, second. Mr. Marcy, all in favor? 7 in favor.
All in favor, 7. Motion passed.
Do I have a motion to approve warrant reports 51, 52, 54, 56, 58, 61, and 62? Mr. Marcy, second. Mr. Garcia, all in favor? All in favor.
7 in favor, motion passed.
Do I have a motion to approve treasurer's report for November 2025? Mr. Marcy, second. Mr. Ponicello, all in favor?
All in favor, 7, motion passed.
Moving on to discussions and presentations. Well, I guess we're in budget season, so I'm going to turn it over to Peter.
And Teresa.
Teresa, yes.
Are you okay with student leads?
Yeah, please. Yeah. It's midterms week. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Good luck.
You too.
You can click.
I'll click away.
You want to stand? Thank you.
So you said, well, I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. It's long. That's why you have us.
Yes. Okay, good evening, everyone. As Mr. Bayrudi said, we are now in the throes of budget season. For those of you who have not gone through the full calendar with us yet, it is quite an extensive 4-month process. We began the process back in November, as you could see from the first slide, meeting with all our decision makers, all our budget builders. And then by December, we put together the first rough draft of all our numbers, taking into consideration all of the initiatives that are coming forward. So here we are in January. This evening's first presentation will be the first draft of the budget to the Board of Ed. In addition, we will be presenting later on the Board of Education's unique budget and then the transportation budget as well. In February, we'll be coming back with the second draft after we take instruction and information and have more insight into where we want to develop certain areas. We'll come back with a draft of the actual budget, as well as special education will present. Fine and performing arts will present, and we will have our tax cap levy calculation, which has to be uploaded to the board by the 1st of March. Then in March, it is very extensive. We have 3 different budget presentation nights. We are going to go through everything from the tax cap calculation to facilities, health and physical education, capital projects, curriculum and instruction, staffing, and every unique administrator will come in to present their part of the budget, and will work in conjunction with us to let you know where it is they came to with all of the initiatives that they have. In April, we have to present to you the other side of the budget. Now we've been focused on the expenditure side. The flip side is the revenue side. So in April, we'll present the fund balance and our reserve plan. We'll present our revenue projections. We'll have final deliberations from the board and final input, because we then need to move to adopt the budget by April 21st. Once we adopt, then we have to post our property tax report card on site. May comes around, and that's our last public hearing. It doesn't mean that any changes can be made. It's just a formality, but we need to have our final budget hearing 7 days before the budget vote, which is on May 19th.
One back a little.
Yep.
We were proposing adding,
Oh, I'm sorry. In April, we are proposing adding another additional budget meeting for the purpose of final deliberations and to take into account any changes that you want. So by the time our normally scheduled April board meetings were happening, it's too late at that point for us to make any changes. So we recommend adding a third meeting on April 14th, so that after we go through all the presentations in February, March, we take everyone's instructions, we can come back on the 14th and still have time to make any changes that you want prior to the 21st. If for some reason things go smoothly and we don't need to, that's fine, but we would like to propose it now as opposed to asking for it
I
later.
think the extra meeting gives you a little time between us presenting the revenue side of the budget and you adopting the budget.
Right.
So it gives you that extra period to, that's all.
Right, to see if there's anywhere we need to, balance. So yes, so that's one of the things we're asking, is to add the additional meeting. So one of the most important things that we do from the business office is to help create and facilitate the board's budget, because the budget is the Board of Education's budget. So we want to help create a fiscally sound budget that maintains the integrity of all our programs and follows New York State ed law. That is our overarching goal. No, this is
So obviously you must stay within the tax levy limit, meaning that we don't want to go out for a supermajority vote. The current CPIU, which just was official last week, was 2.2 cents. So that's the main driver of tax levy. That's our starting number. As more numbers come out in tax levy, we have to take into account building aid and growth factor within that. We don't have those numbers yet. As they become available, we'll continue to refine the tax levy, and we continue to use all the numbers available to us to refine the budget, which you'll get updates at every meeting that we have from here to the budget adoption. This year's roll forward budget is 113,567. Our adopted budget was 107,993, which is approximately $108 million. That's an increase of $5.5 million or 5.16%. I know somebody's going to ask, last year's initial budget was $111 million, an increase of $7 million or 6.78%. And when all was said and done, we wound up with an increase of $3.9 million or 3.76. So we did manage to knock out $4 million out of last year's budget before we were done with the process. So I'm hoping we can go through the budget and knock several $1 million out. We're nowhere near where we're going to wind up, I have to say. We've already looked at some areas. This is a chart that shows you last year's adopted budget versus our preliminary budget. As you can see, for instance, instruction is the largest line in this budget. It makes up 58% of the budget, which you would expect because we are in the business of educating people. You can see that the benefits and other such is another 25%. So when you hear us say that benefits and salaries make up 80%, at least 80%, this happens to be over 80%. This is close to 83, 84% of the budget at this point in time. As we see the numbers, transportation is, this number for transportation includes salaries, which are not really included in the transportation budget that we're going to present. The budgets that we present have all of the salaries under Joe Maizano's realm and not in the individual. So when we present phys ed, there's no salaries in those numbers. It's all just the cost of the other costs, contractual costs and such. Like I said, we'll recap this. Budget increase is $5.6 million, 5.16%. All staffing positions, all positions that were in this year's budget are currently in next year's budget. We haven't taken anything out. We anticipate staffing expansion in the ICT program, as well as adding another special ed class. I think that's a 1211 class, Joe?
Correct.
So we have that staffing in there, and the class sizes remain the same. We haven't changed the class sizes, still within the board guidelines. Bus purchases, there's 4 buses in the budget, $564,000. That's 2 large and 2 small buses. Health benefits, we've increased by about 12% this year over the last year's numbers. As more information becomes available, we refine that number further. And general insurance, we're expecting about a 15% increase. That's about what we've been experiencing over the last couple of years. That has to do with the Child Victims Act mostly. That's where we're seeing a lot of the increases for the insurance companies have been paying out on those claims. Teresa was at a conference the other day, and it looks like there may be 1 or 2 new players in the insurance market in schools, which is, a good thing. We're currently with NYSER, and, we can always take a look at doing an RFP and seeing what the other ones come in. NYSER has a crazy policy where they say if you leave them, they won't take you back. So you kind of trapped with them. They were the only player in the game for a long time. And employee retirement systems, the TRS rate is 8.76% this year. It's a decrease of 8.76%. It's going from 9.59 to 8.75. And then if you look at ERS, it's an increase of 6.7%. The ERS rate is almost twice what it's in excess of twice of what the TRS rate is. So for every dollar of salary, we have to pay an additional 8.75 or 7.6% of wages on those union employees. As I said, we'll continue to refine the budget as we go along, and we're early in the budget process, and I don't expect that the numbers you see tonight will be your final numbers.
Questions?
Okay, any questions?
You mentioned about the insurance. Do we look at the pluses and minuses, the ramifications of potentially changing insurance based on what you mentioned about the state fund? Or do we do the RFP, see if it's even worth it, and then decide? What do you think?
People have done the RFPs, gone out for RFP, and nobody's quoted them last year. Was it Utica? Was the other player? They abandoned the market years ago, and that led to the creation of NYSER. NYSER is very easy to work with. They're very generous on, claims. They don't nickel and dime you, but these increases have been very tough to sustain. So the not too distant future, we'll know what our actual increase is, and we'll adjust it at that time. But it's gone up quite a bit over the last couple of years.
And then the other question I had.
Liberty Mutual is the other company that might be entering the market.
Okay. It's always good to have competition, even if you don't switch. It keeps everyone a little more honest.
Well, even if they sharpen their pencil, even if NYSHA sharpens their pencil,
Every dollar
because
helps.
there is competition.
You mentioned the buses. I know in the past, I guess it was last year.
Mhm.
It must have been last year. We purchased a couple SUVs.
Mhm.
How's that working? Do we know?
Well, I'll tell you a story. We use them mostly for special education runs. We were talking to Brian today about that, and he relayed to us a story about a student that they have difficulty getting on the bus. Like he refuses to get on the bus, and now that we pull up with the SUV, he's like, "Oh, this is like mommy's car," and he hops right in, and he's glad to go to school. So it has made a difference. As I said, we're using them for special ed runs mostly. We're doing a couple on the North Shore. So I don't think we need more, but I think they're a good addition to the fleet, because we do have these runs where 1 or 2 kids go on, and it's, you know, a matron, and they fit nicely in there. It's, you know, no sense in taking a big bus when you can take, you know, a small one.
But those in addition, but not instead of, is what's working right now. It seems.
I think they fit our fleet model pretty well. I wouldn't buy more though.
Okay. I don't know if we could save on a couple buses by buying a couple trucks, but okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess they're cheaper, but
They got to be useful.
yeah, they gotta be useful.
Thanks.
Pete, one question. They came out with the runs today, the initial runs.
Yes,
Did you, I haven't had a chance.
I looked at them. We
Well,
I did some homework.
huh?
I haven't had a chance to look at the
It was
runs.
Joe's analysis.
Oh,
I don't think you were. I think I just sent it to Peter and said, "Let's see if this is right."
I saw a nice increase in foundation aid. It looks like they may be giving us more for the universal pre-K. I got to dive into the numbers. We have increase in building aid, but I told you last year that was going to be final course reports. You have to go back in, like, they project what projects will be complete.
right.
So it might not be true. So I need to go back and see what they've added to those.
I feel like I remember there was.
We have an
adjustment
increase in
last year.
BOCES aid, but that's all dependent on what we spend. I want to make sure that we
I
spend.
think
more.
we should be careful and say it's not an increase, he's just committing to fully fund and actually pay what's owed.
Yeah, well, it's,
And,
yeah,
you know, it ends up being an increase.
yeah. I don't know if they did anything to the formula this year or not.
What I saw, there was no changes
No changes
proposed
to
to the
formula?
formulas for this
Yeah.
year. It's an election year, they're not gonna change the formulas. But she's committed to fully funding foundation aid, fully funding a lot of the other state aid.
And I think, I'm just guessing at this, but I got to think, since she's promised New York City so much money in pre-K support, that she had to do something with the rest of the public schools. So they upped that amount. We'll see if it follows. We'll see if it stays in the budget if the legislature does theirs.
I would just like them to pass it on time or close to on time.
This year was a lot better, wasn't it? So far.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, no,
I gotta work again.
what are we doing now?
Gotta change my pages.
Next is the Board of Ed budget.
Okay, I'll go to budget presentation number 2. This is the Board of Education's budget. So,
This is actually 2 budget codes combined. It's 1010 and 1060 if you follow those.
right, so this is the
Other
Board of
informational sheets
Education
that you
and the district annual meetings. So last year, our total budget expenditure was $140,245. This year, we're projected at $152,264, represents a year-to-year change of $12,000 or roughly 8.6%.
This is a breakdown of the budgets, the budget drivers. Multiple different categories here. The 2 categories I want to focus on would be conference and travel and membership and dues. I think that there can be some review by the board of those 2 categories, and we'll determine what's in there, what trips you want to go on, what conferences you want to go on. The other, would you flip back and forth? The radio buttons. So board. Yeah, on the first one.
Yeah.
Contractual. So this just tells you.
Wanted to click on.
I can't
Oh,
do
you
this
can't
thing. He can do it, I can't do it with this thing.
Okay, Board of Education codes. This tells you what's in those codes, what we budgeted for in those codes. So Board of Education contractual has subscriptions and expense reimbursements. It has district meeting, it has election machines, election workers, and translation services and postage for the balance.
So are those items expected to go up? Is that why there's a 6,000 increase? Did I look at it right? The table?
Oh, go back.
Yeah.
Yeah. 6,000.
Yes.
What did we add to that?
Well, it's not that we added, it's that the machine, the cost of the machines, the cost of the transportation of the machines, and the cost of the
So it's
supplies
just,
are going
it
up.
just is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't control
This
that.
was-
That's
Right.
the
There's only-
machines.
When we reviewed this pretty closely, we thought there was only 2 areas for modification.
Got it.
That would be membership and dues and conferences and travel. The other ones are based on what we spent last year, pretty much.
Right.
This kind of brought it closer to actual.
Okay.
You want to go over the?
I mean, yeah, so I mean, conference and travel, we kind of talked about this in agenda prep. My idea is, I think obviously NISBA, most of us look at it and think it's valuable. With respect to the National School Board or the NSBA conference, that's like all over. Idea, and I don't know, what historically has been done. So I guess from this point of view, we're kind of starting from scratch, but I don't think it makes sense to just open up to every board person. Probably should have like 1 or 2 delegates go, those who are willing to go and attend a conference if we even think it's worth it. But I don't think we should have 7 people flying to San Antonio or Nashville, wherever it's going to be this year or next year.
Dallas.
Actually, it'll be in Dallas.
Dallas,
It's in
okay.
San Antonio this year, it'll be in Dallas next year.
Oh, Dallas is next year? Okay.
Dallas.
So, I mean, that's just my take on that, also to save a few dollars. I mean, I just don't know if it's worth sending 7 people. And membership and dues, I think the only thing that came up was Nassau Suffolk School Board Association,
Right.
whether we want to stick with that or not. So I don't know, I guess in conference and travel, does anyone have a take on?
I'm looking at what we spent so far this year, and it's only less than $10,000. We have $29,000 left in that budget line. 29,000 left.
But I could just interject, this year's conference was held in Manhattan, next year's is in Buffalo.
Okay,
So you'll have airfare, you'll have longer hotel stays.
Some people didn't stay overnight.
Right, this
Okay.
year, a lot of people didn't stay, so it's significantly saved money by not staying in the city. So that may not be the case with Buffalo next year.
I'm not doing a day trip to Buffalo.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm trying to sit in farm country, but I'm not, yeah, I agree. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know that, do we have anybody actually going to national this year? I don't think as of now, anybody committed to going.
No,
I'm not gonna make it. So we probably will be saving some money. I think last year we actually did a poll through you, Joe,
Right.
or maybe administration to see who was planning on going, and they were able to bring it more in line to the actual.
I think only 1 board member went last year.
Right.
So that's the direction that.
Yeah, I guess
we're
no one's going to national, but figured 7 people going to maybe.
I would assume 7 for the state.
New York State, yeah. And then membership dues, I mean, so I just for the public to know, we had a meeting with Bob Vecchio, who heads up Nassau Suffolk School Board Association. He was gracious enough to explain to us how, our roughly $4,000 membership, in his eyes, provides value to the Plainview School Board. I'm kind of on the fence on it, honestly, still. I do see some areas where they provide value, and some areas where I don't think they really meet the threshold. But I'll open up to everyone else and see what their thoughts are.
You seem pretty receptive to your concerns. I think so.
Yeah, I mean, generally, So, I mean,
My feeling on Nassau Suffolk was, my thought is we should stay in for now.
okay,
I think it's something to look at again as the years progress. But, I think it's me and you going to something they're doing for CTE.
yeah,
week.
this Thursday.
So those types of opportunities, last year there was a lot on foundational aid. I think me and Mike were on, I watched it on recording. I'm sure a few of us did. Mike was on it. But I think for now, we should probably stay in.
Right.
But I don't know that that's a decision we're making now forever either, if that makes sense.
I mean, I tend to agree, and it sort of, I think, mirrors my thinking on the national conference versus the New York conference, in that New York is unique within the nation, and Long Island is unique within New York. And, you know, as you said, Bob was gracious enough to speak with us and laid out, you know, sort of how they advocate for us as a region. And obviously there are, you know, in any region as diverse and unique as Long Island, there's going to be areas where we don't necessarily agree with some of the advocacy points that they're taking. But, you know, he definitely seemed open to having that conversation and sort of broadening, I guess, his outreach and how they develop their advocacy, you know, proposals for the year. So I would lean towards staying in to this point and see how the relationship continues to grow.
Okay, so the only area for modification would be the travel.
Yeah, I guess I'll send out a survey just to fine tune it. Should do.
It's not much money, but it's, you know,
Yes,
we should get as accurate as we can.
Yep.
The contractual is not impacted by the 2 votes that would help by the library? Is that it? You said machine rentals and stuff that went up?
Well, no, that was last, yeah, and this year's
But you said actuals were actually higher, so that's why it's going up. Is that
No,
what's doing? No?
no, it wasn't really the cost of the library that's going to drive next year. It's the cost of the machines and the transportation and the ballot printing and the other parts of it that go into that. Well, you'll see the advertising.
I imagine NASA Board of Elections saw what's going on in Suffolk and said, "Oh, we could charge a little more now, and we'll still be cheaper."
Yeah, they're not.
So we're lucky to be on this side of the border, I think.
Exactly, so that's what's happening. I will just mention one other thing contractual that you might want to think about. This year you had board professional development. That was part of the budget, and it was a significant amount of money. It is currently part of contractual right now to the tune of about $4,000. So that's one more thing you should decide on whether you want to
I
continue.
think we're gonna need that, you know, we're
Yeah,
gonna,
I think with the
Yeah.
new super and everything, we'll probably need
Then
that.
that's fine.
we're gonna need
So
some
let's just leave it there for now.
funding time.
Advertising costs went up, obviously, and bold, and we're moving to diligent through BOCES.
Right.
So that's how BOCES change.
All right, thank you.
On the transportation.
All right, let's put on our driver's cap, and now we're into transportation. So historically, 25, 26, we spent roughly $2.3 million in transportation. This is not including salary. As you can see the footnote on the bottom, there's another $2.3 million worth of salaries in the 25, 26 budget, which ties to the $4.6 million that you saw in the previous original budget overview. This year, we're proposing a slight decrease in the expenditures that are non-salary related to the tune of $75,000, which is roughly 10% of it. However, on the 26-27 staffing side, we are going up to 2.366, which is a slight increase, which brings us to a total expenditure of $4,614,000. So in total for transportation, we're down slightly, but not a significant amount, 1.2%. So these are the number of students transported, we are transporting this year, broken down by building and then private and special schools, as well as the ones that are transported by outside contractors. So we roughly transport about 1,800 students a day, which is over 60% of our student population currently. We do that through these bus routes, East Plain to Shorting, West, High School, Middle School, athletic shuttles. Then we have in-house transportation for our private schools and special ed schools. We have 22 routes that our internal drivers can handle. Outside of that, we outsource 9 school bus routes for private and special schools. So some of those are the ones that are too far, too difficult, can't manage within our own fleet. So roughly we have about 80 in-house routes.
I'm just curious, because I actually at the BOCES meeting the other day, what percentage of our students do we bus ourselves versus contractual? Is it like 90, 10,
So if you go back to here, we only bus 13 of our
students.
children with outside sources,
outside, so
which is
On 9
like
routes.
less than
9 rounds,
1%.
so, okay, so it's pretty,
Yeah, they're pretty
90
sporadically spread apart.
99, 98%. Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
We are really handling the vast majority internally at this point. This is the makeup of our transportation staff. We have one transportation supervisor, Mr. Brian McCarthy. We have a dispatcher. We have a part-time driver who acts as an assistant dispatcher. There's one clerical, 38 drivers, 3 mechanics, and about 16 aides and monitors on various bus routes.
Okay, so now we'll get to the composition of our transportation equipment. We have 23 large buses, 22 small buses. Our fleet average, the age of our buses is about 5.5 years in each category. Just to note, the small buses include 2 SUVs that we purchased. This is our fleet summary. This is the purchases by year that we made and what's remaining in those years where we purchased it. So as you can see, since 2021, we've been purchasing 4 buses a year, pretty evenly between large and small buses. And we're proposing 2 large and 2 small for 26, 27. This is our summary by fuel type. The 8 buses that we have left that are diesel or large buses. We have a combination of gasoline buses. Large buses, we have 12, and we have 21 gasoline smaller buses. And then we have some LPG buses, 3 large and 1 small. Those are being phased out. They kind of end of life cycle. The repairs to them, the fuel tanks or the gas tanks need to be replaced, and it's very expensive. We embarked on that a while ago, but before the diesel fuels became cleaner, but we're not buying any diesels anymore, we're just buying gasoline buses. So even the large buses are powered by gas. This was a while back. We had our fleet was aging out. We had a lot of buses, or we had too many buses over 15 years old. We embarked on a program of replacing those and keeping the fleet age down. As I said before, we're down to about 5.5 year average, and we no longer have any buses that are over 15 years old. They've all been accessed at this point. This is the budget components. We have equipment. The equipment is made up of the 4 buses and an additional $10,000 for mechanics equipment. We have contractual. Those are our general contractual codes. And we also have something contractual bus routes that we run. Those are the budgeted amounts. And we have material supplies. We'll go into what's included in those codes on the next couple of slides. Again, I said this has 2 large and 2 small buses as well as mechanics equipment. This is the contractual code. We have GPS software. We have liability insurance for the bus. At times we have to outsource repairs. We have utilities. And we have a miscellaneous code that's typically used for cameras and replacement of GPS devices on the buses as we need them. Materials and supplies, obviously we repair our own buses, but $70,000 for bus repair parts. And the other large piece of this puzzle is $160,000 for gas and diesel fuel to run the buses. These are the leases, contractual. This is what's in contractual. We have the bus garage leases in there. We lease a property over in the Levittown School District to repair our buses. We have outsourced routes, which 325 is for general education. We have special ed routes where we budget $500,000. We have BOCES routes where we budget $250,000. I expect that we can lower these numbers fairly significantly when we take a look at our spending history on these. So you can expect this number to come down quite a bit on the contractual routes.
325, that's just those 13 routes? Isn't it just 25K?
Well, no. It's made up of special ed routes too.
That's 500.
Yeah. I said.
Oh, those 13 is 325 plus 500?
Some of these routes, like we had a special ed route, one special ed route out of these, it was over $200,000 by the time you get done the matron. So these routes can become quite expensive.
Wow.
Sometimes the matron costs you more than the bus driver. So I'm expecting we're going to take those numbers down quite a bit. You'll see that in the next budget presentation.
Got an easy one, I think. So if we it seems like we're on pretty much a set pattern of purchasing buses,
Yes.
which keeps us right at that 5.5 year average. And that means some of the buses are going to be 10 years old, but those are the ones that age out.
Some of them are brand new.
Right.
Right, okay.
So, okay, just in your, oh, okay, all right, go ahead. Okay, so, Peter, so in your, what we used to do is not buy buses for a couple of years and then
Oh, yeah.
buy a whole bunch, and that's a big impact to the budget, so years ago, we thought this is more consistent, so, is this?
So also the bus equipment's part of your tax cap calculation, so I don't think you want the spikes up and down.
Okay, so, but you feel this is working very well, how we have it
I
kind
think
of
we're in good shape with the buses.
calculated every year instead of
Mhm.
sporadic purchases of,
Yeah, I think that's how we wound up with 15-year-old buses.
exactly, yeah.
We're not buying them for a number of
Like,
years.
oh, no, they're all 20 years old, yeah, so, all right, so it's working well, you.
Yep.
Good to know, thank you.
And just, I know in the past, it's been mentioned that there's been some challenges in recruiting bus drivers. Has there been, how has recruitment been recently? Obviously, I saw the numbers 38.
I think we're in a lot
drivers.
better shape than a lot of other districts. I know of a district that has probably about 80 buses in their yard and about 40 drivers. So all the buses are rolling. So I think we're in pretty good shape. Seems like every time you get one, you lose one. So it's kind of a,
Just looking at the personal action report, that's kind of,
Yeah.
it seems like, someone
yeah,
cycles out and we have a new.
yeah. Just when you think you're getting ahead, you wind up, back where you were.
Same with the mechanic, right? We had a mechanic that retired. We were able to replace him.
He's that's the head mechanic, the supervisor.
Okay.
He's back.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
And then are we still requiring CDL across the board?
Yes.
Even with
Even with
SUVs, we're
SUVs,
still.
correct.
Thank you.
Thank you for the detailed budget, thank you.
All right. Moving on to the next session, business. Do I have a motion to approve items 1 through 23? Mr. Funicello, second. Mr. Marcy, all in favor? All in favor?
Oh, so- I'm sorry.
Okay.
In favor?
7-1.
Approved.
Pride and Plainage, opportunity for board members to present on attendance participation at school and community events.
Very quickly, I attended the open house for the fitness center, and they had a decent turnout. They offered tours to people and were able to register people right on site. I think there were just over 50 signups that day on site. So I'd say it was a success, and I'm happy with how that was handled.
Nice. Anyone else? I attended the West Senior Concerts. That was a nice little concert they put on together. I think there's some more events coming up, so hopefully I'll be attending those. That's it for me.
Yeah, I attended the BOCES budget hearing for component districts. So they highlighted some of the numbers here. The Rwanda, so it's the average amount of students in the county, so went up. That is that decreased, so I guess all the rates are increasing. So the total increase that we're gonna see from BOCES, the administrative budget is 2.9%. So that's something to consider. They're telling us that general liability insurance went up 22%, cyber insurance went up 12%. Let's see, they got rid of a big rent they had to pay by purchasing Siemens Neck School, but now they're in agreement with Massapequa Schools to rent one of their buildings. So I think it's almost a wash. So that's in the capital part of their budget that we don't vote on. So but we still have to pay by Rwanda. Right, Rwada's the right Rwanda. Rwanda.
Resident weighted average daily attendance.
Yeah. So that went down in the county. So that is impacting us, how much we have to pay. They also talked about their transportation budget. So I asked them, we have our own bus company here, we take care of our own transportation. They have their own in-house buses, but they only do about 30% of their students they bus. So everything else is contracted, so I said that's something to maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, so about 30%. So the other 70%, they're going out to private companies, they have markup and whatnot, so I said it'd be good if, all the 9 board members there, we move towards having an in-house transportation company that serves more students. So we have another meeting in a couple of weeks, and I'll report back to the board as to what we talk about in that meeting, and I'll represent us there. And that's about it, really. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
I think it was since the last meeting, the high school music parents put on the Breakfast with Santa every year. So it was my first time going. My kids had a blast. I said to my wife, we're not going to the one at Applebee's anymore. This is way better. They really did a great job and, really talented and a lot of work. And I hope they raise a lot of money for all the things they do. And then the other thing I want to just say, it's called Pride in Plain Edge. Seeing how much, and I think you're going to get into it a little bit, Joe, how many parents and community people responded to the different committees, to apply for the committees. And also in the superintendent's search, all of the really detailed work at every level in the community, whether that was the people outside what you might consider outside the district, the taxpayers, the different groups, the different entities, but then also all the different levels of staff here. I was blown away, frankly, reading the comments, how well they were, how much detail was in there, and then also seeing how much time a lot of people put into the committee application. So that brought me a lot of pride. I wanted to mention
it. Anyone else? No? Okay. New business, old business. Joe touched on some of it. Let me open up my notes here. So with the school bus and late bus committees, we had over 50 applicants to be on the committee. And then based on the review of responses by Mr. Garcia, Mr. Auer, myself, we selected 10 candidates. All 10 of the people who were offered a position on the committees accepted. So we're going to proceed with scheduling the meetings. I'm going to probably schedule 2 a month, with really one to be a standard meeting, another one in case we need to flex to have a second meeting during a month until we complete the work of the committee, which is to review regular school bus routes, specifically those that could be dangerous or more perilous for children to cross, which actually today we adopted contracts to do a study to designate school safety zones. So that part of the committee might actually be a lot quicker. The late bus committee portion is probably going to be more involved and in depth. So anyway, with that being said, I already started putting together a PowerPoint, at least for the first meeting, so that we have a place to jump off of and just kind of set the goals, what we're trying to achieve, et cetera, and gather feedback. The next committee for which a survey recently went out is the Capital Improvement Committee. Thus far, when I checked earlier today, we had 22 applicants, and that committee will be, there'll be a Board of Ed subcommittee, also 3 people. We haven't determined who that is. I haven't surveyed or polled the board to find out who would be interested, but we'll probably be doing that this week or next. So we'll have three individuals on the board to help steer the selection of who the community members are once we review the surveys, and then obviously develop the game plan for discussions. More to come on that after the application closes, January 30th at 5 p.m. So if you're interested in serving on that, I mean, that's a big ticket item. It's important in terms of serving on this committee from my perspective, because you have a voice in terms of where we're going to be expending significant amounts of money and where we think the future of the district is, right? I mean, I think the board has a view on certain things, but we always welcome feedback from the community. And I think this is a good way to constructively gather that information and make, decisions that really can be in the millions of dollars very easily. And then last, I just wanted to give an update a little bit more in detail than what Mr. Garcia gave for the superintendent search update. So district-wise put together after conducting surveys and meetings with various stakeholders, and they gave us a summary of those findings to the Board of Ed. Interestingly, there was a recurring theme that I saw based on these surveys that seemed to generally be expressed by each group. And these are when I was reviewing their report, was their top three things that they believe it seems like the community and generally every stakeholder is looking for. So they're looking for a superintendent who is trustworthy, approachable, responsive, and visible. They want that person to be academics focused, and they want a rebalance of technology in the classrooms, meaning that, again, this is something that I think the board has talked about, but maybe that we push too much technology in classrooms. We need to go back a little bit towards more traditional methods of learning. So meaning basically paper and pencil. So those are the things that I think seem to me to be the top three. There are other things as well mentioned in the survey. So thankfully, like I said, the desires of the community seems to line up with that of the board. And I think, hopefully we find a superintendent that's going to help us move towards that direction. So the next step in terms of what people are wondering is on the horizon in terms of timeline. Is district-wise is doing their background checks right now, the reference checks, et cetera. And then we will have what they call our binder meeting review in early March. That's where we'll go through each candidate and advise why they are recommending them. They'll go through each candidate and advise why they are recommending them to advance to the interview stage with the Board of Ed for a first and second round interview. So I also polled the Board of Ed to see if we wanted district-wise in an interview. That's an additional feature of the contract and add-on costs. And so the polling came back and everyone's interested in having district-wise someone from their group to be in the interviews. We seemed like generally everyone seemed to think it was beneficial to have someone with that level of expertise in the room and help us also possibly understand some things that some of us that aren't in the field of education understand and work through those ideas. So that's really it in terms of old business items that I wanted to update everyone on. I don't know if anyone has anything they want to add to that. Anything I've said or.
Very comprehensive update, yes.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's good.
No. All right. Well, if nothing else, we'll move on to the next section then. Informational reports. Are there any questions on the informational reports?
Yeah. I still have my question outstanding, I guess, at the
Which one?
claims order. The claim, so we had a big number that was sticking you on this.
Was that?
Claims order report, the confirming purchase order there of $209,000.
Mr. Prozzi, you want to just walk through that one or?
Sure, that was
Yes, that must have
one
been
of
the
the
purchase,
invoices for the 3 playgrounds that we did.
Okay,
Okay, we issued 2 purchase orders on August 13th. We issued the last purchase order on August 14th. In my mind, there was no contract in place until August 14th because we hadn't issued the purchase order, so I believe that AIA document was not correct. It seems to me that they copied and pasted across the 3 contracts. I think that AIA document should have read 8/14 through 10/31.
so that was the
That'd be
That was
my
the-
take on it.
hitch, I guess, okay. Take
You know,
technicality.
we didn't issue the purchase order is what binds the district
We have to pay, yeah.
to pay it. We hadn't issued that to the 14th, so I don't know why they would have put 8/13 on that
On the
document.
invoice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's annoying. Okay, I understand. Yeah, so it wasn't anything.
I mean, we got
agreed,
together,
yeah.
me, Teresa, the purchasing agent,
Yeah.
the accounts payable, we went
you
over all
revise
the
the-
documents this morning, and it was, that's the conclusion we all came to.
Okay. Can you revise the invoice, there was no reason to have an invoice before the date that they.
Before I issued the purchase order.
Yeah,
They can't say
okay.
they started work before I issued the purchase
Okay.
order.
I mean, at the end of the day, the vendors do what they do, and you only have so much will to force them to do things slightly different but at the end of the day, until you put out the purchase order, it
There's no
sort of
binding.
doesn matter, right? I
There's
mean,
no
this is
bond-
not
there's no-
a
The district
fiscal
isn't bound by
concern.
anything until the purchase order is issued.
Right.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for and the other explanation was, so with these invoices over 90 days outstanding, I guess, so is that some type of lapse? Some, you're not getting things
I think
in?
it was that about $16,000 in total.
It was, yeah, so it creeped up earlier
The
in the year.
biggest part of that was one invoice from
creeping back down.
Bell Auto School,
Those
who
three-
bills us once a year.
well, over
But the
past-
invoice calls for four payments throughout the year. So the claims order looked at the date on the invoice. I can show you the invoice if you want. But I don't know what the date was on the invoice, but the payments are made throughout the year.
So
So
the invoice
obviously,
is-
90 days out, the last three payments are probably all going to be
Okay.
confirming. I can speak to the claims auditor about that. Like
Yeah,
that one, I
because
wouldn't have accepted
There was
had I seen
a
it.
decent, 6 in October, 2 in November, 3 in December, and 37,000, 26,000, 16,000. So it's
Right.
a sizable number, so.
But it seems like that's all the same vendor, and you're gonna get to 3 by the end of the year, no matter what you do.
No matter what. Well,
'Cause you get billed
I
in the
would go
beginning
back
of
to
the
the
year.
claims auditor and say this isn't a valid.
Yeah, this is.
They brought it as a concern, but you look at it, that's the payment schedule.
Right.
You paid it on time
We
according
did.
to the schedule, you just got billed really early.
Right.
Okay. So that's a good thing. I don't want to pay anyone before they do, just because the invoice came in. That doesn't sound like a good idea.
Okay, makes sense. All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, yeah.
All set. Anyone else? No? Okay. Moving on to opportunity for public comment. All comments are directed to the Board of Ed President. We ask that you please limit your time to 2 minutes. And we ask that you please use the microphone and speak. Come on up, please. Feel free.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Meehan. I am representing the Shorting PTA tonight. At our last PTA meeting, a parent in our school, there's a lot of background here, but she had had some conversations with you guys in regards to the playground structures. At Shorting, I know you guys got the 2 new pieces for the preschool. I know you guys did the resurfacing for the playground. The playground itself is very old and outdated, and we are looking for change here. I have specifics, but I know that there was documents, bids from September 2024 for a brand new playground explicitly prepared for Schwarting Elementary School, with no explanation as to why it was not built. And those plans were later used at West. So I, of course, don't have these documents, but the person who came to us in the board meeting in front of the whole Schwarting community did. It raised his concerns as to why we don't have that playground there and what can be done to remedy the situation with her findings. We'd like some feedback as a PTA. I have other people here with me too from the PTA, but no one wants to come up and talk. So here I am. So I wanted you guys to consider that. We have the documentation to show Shorting's name is on it, but somehow it went to West.
So, I mean, I'm happy to, I'm not well versed in this, and thank you for coming up. We encourage people to come up, so. I know it can be nerve wracking because I've been on that side, so. What I would say is, and this is just talking, I know Mr. Garcia was talking to that person, et cetera. What I heard was actually, it was just mislabeled, the plans. So if you were to go back to like old Board of Ed meetings, and Dr. Singer was here, he would say, I think in one meeting he said, because we did the field at West and the playground at West was also pretty beat up as well. I don't know the condition of the Shorting playground, to be honest.
It's not good. I mean, if you go there, you could see, I mean, I know they resurfaced some areas, but even the blacktop, like kids fall on it all the time. Our basketball courts are falling apart. There's no nets even on. It's not in great condition.
Sounds like it's West. I mean, West still has basketball nets, basketball hoops without netting. But I mean, it was redone because if you were to listen to old board meetings, it was said that, we just did this new field.
I know.
We can't have this old playground, which had like some rusty chain link thing on it and, you know, other things that were just like not safe. I think in speaking with Mrs. Muscarella and Mr. Brazo, you know, they're also speaking to Mrs. Thurl, who's the principal, to understand really what the situation is there. I thought when this was originally brought up, the concern was that there wasn't age-appropriate equipment.
It's like a both concern. It's a concern that the age-appropriate equipment is like coming from the pre-K parents explicitly, because they were told that the kids can really only play on the side yard. And I know that 2 pieces of equipment were installed, but if you speak to Mrs. Thurl about them, I'm sure she might tell you that they're pretty dangerous. They're not exactly, I know they're recommended for that age group, but they're not very safe. Kids get hurt on them quite often, and they can only be used a few kids at a time. So I was just wondering, like, you know, maybe who selected those things, and if there could have been some more feedback and conversation with, you know, with the people.
So, I mean, what I would say is, that's the purpose of the capital improvement committee.
Yes, I find.
Good. So, you know, we'll see what goes with that. I think what we probably need to do is actually just get more information about what the situation is at Schwarting, including the board.
Okay.
Because it's just not clear to me. And I know the person that you're speaking of, what they saw, but I was told that was actually mislabeled. So that was just a mistake by the architect.
Even still, the information she does have, and I'm just telling you, I'm very respectfully, we got $200,000 toward the budget for pre-K equipment for those 2 pieces of equipment, whereas the Plain Edge Middle Schools supposedly they got $400,000. Like, that's a big discrepancy considering we have so many classes at Schwarting and so many kids to service. So for that to happen, it's really servicing the same kids. Like, now you have a brand new playground at West, and now you have a brand new playground where a lot of kids that are technically West zones go into the Plain Edge Middle School. So again, I'm somewhat repeating information because I am not a lawyer, but this person is. And, you know, I just wanted to make sure that Schwarting got its shot too.
I think I'd like to point out that the middle school was also built because we house our summer programs there.
Right.
And we wound up busing kids all around the district last year for the summer program, so they did have time on playground. So part of the cost at the middle school was to build a playground, a completely brand new one, because of the summer programs. That's where we house them.
I understand.
I think ultimately that, you know, as Mr. Baird had said, there's some confusion in a lot of different areas. The questions have been raised. There's a lot of conversations that are going on right now that we brought in Mrs. Thurl, and I think Mr. Garcia had the conversation with Mr. I think we're hoping to bring the PTA in as part of that conversation also moving forward, just to make sure that we do have the perspective of the parents of the students who are actually using the playground. I know
That would be helpful, yes, especially for the BK parents. We hear a lot from them in particular.
And
Look, if I could,
Go ahead.
I've spent way more time than I ever thought I would spend on a school playground, and that's not a complaint. There's real emotion there and real thought there coming from the people who are from you and everybody else who's talking about it. And there are questions that have gotten asked, like, who chose these items? You know, were these the best? I'll be quite frank, nobody knows, but that's what's there. And you can spend a lot of time, and I have, trying to figure out, okay, what was the process and what happened? And unfortunately, that's not written down anywhere. So we don't know. We can't just find out and ask that person. So personally, I'm way more interested in what comes next, because that's really the question. What had happened and how we got here is kind of an exercise. It's almost an academic exercise. It's just, well, let's try not to do that again. And the whole point of the capital improvement committee is so when a group says, hey, we need something, that might be administrators and buildings. It could be a lot of different people saying, it could be the architect. Hey, this is something Plain Edge needs. For that to happen in a way where there's a little more input. I believe that if we had a lot more input on this over the summer, we probably wouldn't end up with the spinning wheel of whatever. But it's something that I know the administration, central administration, and the building administration have spent a lot of time over the last, I mean, it was right before Christmas. It was like the 23rd, I think, we first got together on this, through now. So I don't want to speak for everybody, but I don't think there's going to be an answer. Certainly there's not an answer tonight. I don't even think there's going to be an answer, this week. But I do know that there's a lot of effort going into trying to figure out a little bit of where we ended up, but more about where we go from here. And if I could say, I think the plan is to have some options and have the parents, the PTA, help in coming up with what, if any, final plan will be over there. So it's ongoing. It's an ongoing conversation, but it's, from my estimation, I think as a board member, I've spent the most amount of time on it, certainly not as much as the administrators. We certainly know that there's a concern there, and there's an attempt, a real attempt to try to find the best way to, fill that concern, to alleviate that concern. All right.
Look,
I think did you call my wife on this like a year ago too?
Yeah, like a year
I remember.
ago.
Yeah, I know.
This is not the first time it's happened.
No,
I mean,
yeah.
there was like this Colgate
Don't bring
thing.
that up.
I know Peter hates hearing it. But there was a fundraising, and I was in the same boat you were in just like 5 years ago. Questioned the same thing, like why did West get less money
Yeah.
and the other two schools got more, right? Like they got double at the time for their program. So, what the whole purpose is to bring more transparency and light into these decisions, which is why I think the Capital Improvement Committee relaunching it is important. The first time we launched it wasn't really successful. Last year, there's like 2 people that showed up and then one person never showed up again. So I'm hoping that we actually get more interested parties. It's for this exact reason why I want to relaunch it and hopefully have people show up and be part of the decision-making process. Like this is a big year where we're gonna have the 5-year architectural plan, which is gonna go through these things, right? In terms of like boiler systems, like things that are not as exciting as a playground, but still important to run a school and make sure it's a safe environment for every child. So that's part of this process. So, I'm glad you applied. Whoever the subcommittee or 3 board trustees are, they'll decide who's gonna sit on the committee. And I think, the goal is to get a variety of people from Schwarting, East Point, every school, and then make the right decisions, and do it in an open fashion so everyone sees what's on the table. Like everyone's cards are going to be out. That's the goal.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you.
Mr. Bayrd, I would just add one quick little thing, because I think just so people are clear, over the summer or last spring, really, the company that supplies most of the playgrounds on Long Island to schools did survey the Schwarting playground. The salesperson said that what was there was in good enough condition to be used still. So that was relayed to me through facilities. So, but I think maybe some of us should stop over there. So should take a look. I'll send you my notes on it too, and we can go from there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
So you guys are way more intimidating than my 4th graders. So just to shift gears a little bit, I know I spoke to Mr. Bayruti at length last Friday. My name's Maria. I'm on the Schwarting PTA board. I've been a special ed teacher for 20 years. I started at Little Village, now I'm in the city, and my 2 little babies, who are not babies anymore, are at Schwarting. And I am hoping to restart SEPTA in the district. I think it's really important that we have it. I think us not having it it's just a disservice to a very large population of our students. And I really am looking to just increase the inclusivity in our district, to provide a place for parents, to look for resources and to work together. And, I spoke to Mr. Bayruti last week, and I'm hoping that once it started, we can also extend an invitation to our CPSE parents who maybe aren't in the district, but are coming to us, and they can come into a place where they know they're welcomed with open arms, and they already have kind of a community in place for them. So I guess over the next couple of weeks, we already had our first pre-charter meeting. We had Mr. Fuchs at our meeting, Miss Murphy, and Miss Farrell was there, and a bunch of other people, and it was a really great meeting. We had a lot of parents there. The bylaws are getting started, so I'm hoping that in the next couple of months, we will have SEPTA to present to you, so that way we can add that into our district and what we can offer to parents to help them feel supported. So that's my 2 minutes deal.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea. I'm happy you're trying to bring it back, like I mentioned to you.
Yeah.
My wife was surprised that it fell apart because, again, the school district she worked at, SEPTA was a powerful organization,
Right.
helpful organization. think we should try to bring it back, hopefully strongly and successfully.
I hope so. That's the plan. All right, thank you.
Thank you. If you need anything, let us know.
I will, thank you.
Anyone else? No? Do I have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Morrissey, second. Mr. Garcia, all in favor?
In favor? Motion pass.
Thank you.
It's 8:40.